Another day, another dollar, but I'm not making any money because of this freaking weather. How's everyone doing this week here through the wire? Hope everyone is safe due to the hurricane that went up the Appalachian region. Hopefully, you have any family members that are affected. Support them, reach out to them. But, anyways, gents, another edition of Through the Wire. How are you doing, Coach?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Again, I'm not really working because of the hurricane down here.
Yeah.
We're getting some
y'all,
rain and stuff from it, so
you do okay? Everything with what you had going on down there?
Oh yeah, it didn't hit Jacksonville. We're fine down here. It's just
Yeah.
we're still under a city/state emergency, so I can't actually do my job. I have to do like report trees are down, and we're a week past the event. I'm like, I like to go do stuff.
Yeah.
I get bored at work, man. I'd rather be doing this. This is what I love to do. Breaking down indoor arena football and ticking off a lot of people, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's not new. That's not new. The western part of our state here, North Carolina, got hit pretty bad.
Asheville region.
A lot of places still underwater. Actually, quite a few different towns where like the town's not there no more. Like it's just like messed up. So that's kind of crazy. So we're kind of seeing how what all's going to come from that. On the high school football front, a lot of the schools out west, it's kind of up in the air right now of what's going to happen with them. Unfortunately, the state's not going to be able to keep extended the season, so long. So it'll get to the point where they'll have to decide, are all those teams, seasons done, which would be crazy. It's just tough, to be in that situation. You feel for them. Speaking of high school, we lost our first game this past weekend. It's tough.
District?
Huh?
Was it district or just a non-conference?
It was a conference game. It was a conference game, and they are now they're on a 35 game win streak. So they're back-to-back state champions, undefeated for 2 seasons. So it was a good one. It was a tough one. It was a defensive battle. We scored on our very first play on offense. So I was like, oh yeah, here we go. No, we scored on our first drive and last drive. So we only lost. I mean, it was a tight game. We missed a field goal that would have been ended, making us tied. In theory, just based on point scored or whatever. But so we lost 17-14. So it was a close game. Both teams averaged well over 40 points a game, 44, 45, 48 in that area. We hadn't given up any points all season, to the game. They had given up 22, I believe, 22 or 28, something like that. So it was a tough game. The winner of our game is most likely was going to be, winning conference. Neither one of us should lose a game again in conference. And so it's shaping up. We'll probably face each other if we make it, deep into the playoffs. I can see the state kind of positioning it to be, because it'll be a big gate. It was packed. It was standing room only. It was pretty cool atmosphere for a high school game, specifically. Both sides were packed. To be probably position us to play if we made it that far. Of course, we got business to take care of, first. But to be Western Finals, winner going to state, would be pretty cool. So, and after thinking about it, you don't want to go undefeated and then end up facing them again and lose to them, in the postseason. That would suck. So it kind of helped us out. I think it was a good thing for us to get, hit in the mouth and them get hit in the mouth and see that, they'll be ready for us next time and they'll know what's coming then. So it'd be fun.
I saw that you got a little feisty on some replay of calling the player out of bounds and he's a good yard from.
Oh, I shared it.
Yeah,
I shared that video. That video dang near went viral.
That's like, how could you call this guy out? He's a foot from the freaking line.
Like last time I checked, it was well over 6,000 views, for some a video like that, and it was just crazy. Like it was like some people would try to make comments on there about maybe they thought number 11 was the one that went out of bounds with the ball. Different scenarios of almost like trying to justify the stupidity of the call, right?
There's no replay in high school, so there's no replay in high
no,
school.
yeah, I know. And my coach, he was like, I was like, did you see that? How many freaking views we've had on this video? It's about to go viral. He said, yeah, I know. Now we're probably not going to get any calls. I said, my bad. I didn't think it. My bad.
You're trying to get TikTok famous, and now you're not going to even get a call for the remainder of the season.
No, he said, yeah, I know it's going viral, coach.
Yeah, I just saw the video you posted. I'm like, yeah, that's, and I was like, I know how you act. And
he's watching. He just came on, Coach Josh Pardue comes on. Coach Pardue, what's up, Coach? We was talking about the video we posted that you got mad at me and said we ain't gonna get that call.
Coach Rez is trying to get TikTok famous. That's all.
Oh,
well, I know how you react to indoor refs kind of not doing their job and how you explode on them. You kept your cool from what I saw in the video. I'm like,
yeah, it's not. I can't. High school referees are a different breed, man. Because they, like, if they look at you and you're not the head coach, they ain't talking to you. And it's like, what the? Are you kidding me? So there's not a lot of interaction there. With the referees from a high school standpoint. We don't really. Our coach, specifically, he's not one that's like he don't really care about the referees. So, with the referee's going to make a call or whatever, you can't change it. So. He don't. There's a lot of high school coaches still like yell at the referees, and it's just dumb. Like they're just going to look at you and throw a flag at you, for running your mouth. So, we get the get back. You got a couple of reps giving us the sideline warning a few times. But other than that, I'm definitely not cussing any of them out like I am in arena football. So, but that's fun. It's cool. What we do arena football, it's all a show, man, entertainment, and the refs like it. The refs enjoy it. We got a good crew, so they're excited about being in the NAL, and so we'll see from there.
Well, speaking on refs, I want to touch this subject before we get into some willing news. The NFL is starting to crack down on first down celebrations. But apparently it's only selective, meaning if you're not a superstar, you're getting a 15-yard penalty.
Ooh.
We saw a couple players this past weekend, some in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, did a first down symbol, did the normal first down, and it said he was pointing a gun, and they threw a 15-yard face mask. Not Jamar Chase, homeboy for the Jets, Leonard, I think that's his name. He did it right in front of the referee. Not a flag. And I saw in the Pittsburgh game, Jacksonville game, Jets game, multiple games about the NFL cracking down on first down celebrations, but it's only selective players. It's the reason why I don't like the NFL sometimes. Not fun league. What's your opinion about players first down celebrations? Because it happens a lot in the indoor game.
Mm-hmm.
I have no issue with it.
I don't really have any issue with it. I don't even really have an issue. What gets me is when they call it taunting.
Mm-hmm. Nope, internet issue. Please hold.
Yeah, say it's not me this time. I thought for sure it was me, but it's not.
The NFL cracking down on the internet stream.
Yeah.
This is awkward. How is everyone doing today? Please.
But no, I mean, I don't see any problem with it. I think,
but
exactly, there it is.
Well, he's still glitching out. Everyone's glitching out.
Yeah.
What's ridiculous?
It got to be the weather, man.
I don't think it is the weather. It's just technology.
Well, true. It's just not a good technology day.
Yeah. Knowing him, he'll back him out.
Yeah.
If it times out, he'll time out, and that means he'll get back in if he can. But
there it is.
It backed him out.
But yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I think it helps, with the showmanship of of the game. I think the fans enjoy it just as much as the players do in the indoor game. That's for sure.
I just don't like the selective, like.
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, how do we just pick? Well, you're a Kelsey, so you're good. Like,
Yeah. Like Kelsey, you can do it. You can do your shake it off type of ordeal and not get flagged. But it's just aggravating when the NFL came out last week, said they're cracking down on it, but now they're only getting the guys who are not superstars. It's like, come on. It's like, if you're going to do it for one guy, do it for the other. Seriously. Just
Nope.
saying.
We got time for a shameless plug. So, Miners fans, if you want to play as the Wheeling Miners in Madden, Matt Patton has made that available.
Yes. The whole NAL is actually available on that. And there are more teams coming, and that's courtesy of our co-host of the Inside the Walls podcast, Matt Patton, Cobras, Corpus Christi, Idaho, the whole entire league. Again, there's no player. It's just, was it the Community Creations? That's what it was created on?
Yeah, yep, it's pretty cool. He was, we were going back and forth making sure we had the exact stuff for Wheeling, which was awesome. So I'm sure with all the uniform releases and everything else, he'll make sure everybody's is pretty accurate and up to date, and they look pretty cool. So
that's a shameless plug. You can download it on the Community Creations on Madden.
Yeah.
The Willie Miners are on there, including the Jacksonville Sharks are also on there too, by the way. Me and Matt and
Sorry, guys.
technology, it happens, Coach.
I don't know what
it's
happened.
been a night. It's been a night.
It's the hurricane. It's the hurricane.
Well, we'll blame
I don't
something.
know, it's weird. Like the internet went out and everyone's still streaming Netflix upstairs. Caleb's playing whatever, watching YouTube or whatever, and I'm the only one that the internet went out.
Wait.
The internet's being selective in your household there, Coach. It's like, not
Apparently.
you.
Yeah, freaking NFL refs.
It's Roger Goodell. They're like, oh no, we gotta censor this.
Yeah.
But anyways,
let's see
Coach,
what Coach Negron have to say
about the first down celebrations. I really care less. He wants the guys to celebrate the first down. It's entertaining. I agree.
Yeah,
that should they penalized. Remember when they outlawed dancing in the end zone? Now the whole entire team celebrates after a touchdown. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Or a turnover and the whole team runs down.
That's just like just like a turnover or a big sack. Like, you want to celebrate after that. Like, same thing.
I have no issue.
Let's see, how do I try out? Hard to figure out. Go to our website. Go to the team tab. Once in the team tab, you'll find a tryout link. Once you see that tryout tab, click it, and then you'll be able to fill out the registration form. Or if you're watching right now, you can scan the QR code.
Yeah.
It's small, but yeah.
Hey, it still works.
Once you'll fill out that information, and then you'll pay the pre-registration fee. That's funny. It'll take you to pay the pre-registration fee, and then show up in January. Like, you'll see the information there. You just saw that flyer. Keep up to date on any news, any updates, for that on our social media, all of our social media stuff. Should be a good workout. I mean, we had what was it? I was looking at not long ago. We had almost 28 or so register before we announced it, so they'd actually go through you could actually fill out the form online for tryouts, but there wasn't a pay link or anything yet. There's no date, there's anything. They were just filling out the information, like, when the next tryout is, let me know. So that's pretty cool. And then once we had it announced, I think it was like another 17 to 19 or so. So, I mean, we're already over 40 dudes, pre-register, trying to pre-register for a workout that's in January. This is probably the farthest out that I've ever had release a date for a tryout, and have this much time to push for it and market for it. I wanted to be a little petty and do like a tryout before this team's tryout and do one before this team's tryout. And, I was just like, that's just a waste of time. Sometimes it gets exhausting when you're trying to be an asshole sometimes. So, so you just let it roll. And so January 10th, I felt the reason why January for us, because being after, most of the colleges are done. Colleges of guys that we really go after. There isn't a lot of like big time D1 guys that, are playing, indoor arena football. Usually don't get those guys until about 2 years removed, maybe 1 year removed, mainly 2 or 3 years removed, because all those guys think they're going to the NFL. And then when they're sadly realize that it's not necessarily going to happen then. But that's why these your D2, D3 guys have been like your bread and butter of arena football, indoor football players, because those guys aren't getting those opportunities. So they take advantage of what they can get. And there's been some really good D2, D3 players in the indoor arena game.
Yeah, a lot, honestly. Current ones are still playing right now to this day. That are from lower level schools, even lower level D1, like Sunbelt teams in Mountain
Oh yeah, like
Wisconsin.
how about the name of Malachi Jones, baller. One of the better wide receivers to play the arena game. He didn't have that, a lot of years playing in the arena game, but once he got to the AFL there in Albany, man, he was freaking lights out. What do you win? Wide receiver of the year 2 years in a row, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, him and Prince were battling for that.
Yeah. So
Well, I was gonna say you got
pretty solid players. He played at App, and he played at App State. So.
And you also have guys like Sam Castronova, came from a smaller college. He's considered a star in the indoor arena game. You keep going out west in the IFL. You have Daquan Neal, who's moving teams. I can't say it here because I don't want to be a person who leaks information, but I know who he's going to. And you got Josh Jones, who just signed with Bay Area. He's a small college school, D2. So you got a lot of players like that. Jacksonville has loaded a lot of guys who are last year were just
one of them.
but D2.
You're familiar with one of the better DBs to play the game, old Pitbull, Mishai
Robinson. Yes.
Oder, how do you say that? Oderbine,
yeah.
Oderbine, D3. Is that D3 in Ohio? D2, something like that. And kid's a baller. I mean, he was a stud.
Yeah.
There's guys like him, all throughout the whole, IFL, NAL playing.
Grant Russell's another one.
Yeah, Grant Russell.
Grant Russell. I mean, he was a Harlan Hill candidate finalist. So, what was that, 2016 season, something like that?
He played at the other ODU.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, well, Grant's a stud, man.
Mm-hmm.
He is a stud. So,
but you mentioned how college football this year, the national championship for college football is the week before the Super Bowl because of the extended postseason. But 99% of the teams are done around January 10th. And a lot of D1, D2 schools are already done before then. So the championship games are already done. And a lot of those players already know that they're either being looked at by the NFL or the Canadian Football League. They already know if they have a chance to get to those leagues. A lot of these players don't realize that the indoor game and the arena game, you can just go right in there and get quality film and get ready for the next cycle. The previous year, we've seen a lot of players, and you've coached a lot of players that come out of college, played right off the bat, and then the following year, they're in the UFL, they're in the XFL, they're in Canada because they get spotted because they didn't have the film at the time when they got out of college. But bam, right when they got a year in the arena game, they're in Saskatchewan or they're in the Renegades in Dallas for the XFL. It's just more opportunities and more chance to get more film against professional players, against higher competition, because there's a lot of competition in the arena game. Just not all D1, D3. There are some big time D1 players that end up in an arena game that they get a chance, or they did have a chance, something happened, and that's why they're here. So There's many things. That's one thing I love about this game. There's a lot of different uniques. Should we start now with the free agents, or should we start trolling, Coach? Which one do you want to do?
Let's do free agency first.
Okay.
Let's keep the kids still waiting for the good stuff.
Since our last time, we've had 2 additional signings to the team. And this guy is from, it seems like he formerly played for the Corpus Christi Tritons, is Langford. This edition, Coach.
Yep, he's from actually from the Georgia area. I want to say specifically Atlanta area. I'm not 100% sure. Georgia for sure. Played with Corpus Christi last year. The year before that, he played some with Tulsa, with the Tulsa Oilers in the IFL. Before Tulsa, he was with Columbus for a little bit. I actually hooked up with him after his season with Columbus. Was trying to actually sign him to go to Tulsa. We brought him in to be one of the receivers, and I felt like he got kind of a raw end of the deal in Tulsa. Once I decided to not go to Tulsa as the OC, I felt like he kind of got messed around with a little bit because he was one of my dudes and played some. Should have played more than what he did, but you know how it goes. It's tough. Every coach has their preference, and he just didn't fit for what they wanted to do. So then he left there. I want to say before he went to Corpus, I think he was in Oklahoma with the Oklahoma Flying Aces before they had their issues, and then he went to Corpus Christi from there and finished out with the season, and was trying to get him to come with us to West Virginia, but he's a good player, and he wasn't really, he'd been around for a little bit, so he wasn't really feeling the AAL too. So, and I didn't blame him. But now to get him coming in, he's a big receiver, big guy, rangy, can move, go up and get it, make some plays. He almost reminds you of another Cobb, which, talking with him, through text today and stuff, trying to get his stuff situated, and he should be coming back as well. So we're looking forward to finalizing some stuff with him and getting that worked out for him to come out. But good size receivers, man. We got speed, we got size.
He's every bit of 6'5".
Yeah, we got a lot of weapons for Grant, man. I mean, Grant, we had a pretty good roster last year. I told everybody that what we were, building for the future. And we gave some guys some opportunities that, probably if I was in the NAL or IFL last year, maybe not have given them the opportunity. But I'm glad it all played out the way that it did, just because, giving some guys some opportunities that may not have given them before. It helped me look a little bit different, evaluating some guys. So there was one of the comments I saw, Justin, is that Brookover, said that we could start a decent team with the guys who don't make our team, for 2025. So, I was talking with Jeff about that, not long ago, and some of the other coaches. Some of our guys on our roster now, we only going to be able to keep 25. And so we're going to actually have to get rid of some guys, let some guys go that are going to end up going. We're going to see them on other teams. They're going to go start for other teams. So that's, you almost got to be strategic in the way sometimes of, once you start releasing guys, all right, be careful. If we release this guy, we're going to end up seeing this dude here, now it's just, it's one big game. And so, unfortunately, you got to send some guys on, and, that's just, it's the nature of the beast. It doesn't matter what year it is, what league, what team, what season. It does not get easier telling guys that, you're going to have to go in a different direction. Last year, we didn't have that issue with numbers. We could have as many as we wanted other than our 30-man roster, but we could dress all 30 if we wanted to. I started off the season not doing that, probably dressing 23, then 24, then 25, then 25, and then we got up the playoff game and championship game. We dressed all 30. I think the championship game we might have dressed only 28, but I didn't really want to get too high and signing some of those guys or dressing all those guys because I wanted you're going to get spoiled doing that because now with the NAL we only can dress 21. There's still going to be 4 guys not happy, so you got to be strategic on how you put together your 21 man for game day, because there's some guys will have more D linemen than O linemen. Some will have more O linemen than D linemen. Some will have some guys that can play both ways. Some guys will just have straight athletes that can play wide receiver and DB. There's all kinds of different ways you can do it. So there's no secret formula, but every team's going to be a little bit different. But like I said, we're going to end up letting some guys go that'll end up playing on some other teams.
And the most recent signing from Valley Forge Military College, Hassan Brookman. Excuse me, I can't read because I was looking at something else. My apologies.
Yeah, so he's another program guy, which is one of our lead scout for this year for 2025. Ben has done a heck of a job for us. This off season, we were in talks with some stuff and trying to get it worked out with him to come on board with us, and he's got access to a lot of players. So that was kind of up in the air how we were going to work it out and all that stuff. And we had some of his guys, last year, and Dante Mason and Tyree Williams, and let's see, Khalil I think was one of his guys too. He left us and went to San Antonio, and we signed him back, not long ago. So he's coming back to us, and I think Joel even does some stuff with him now. Shea Davis there in Jersey, that signed with us. He's one of his guys. He's probably got 2 dudes playing in Harrisburg. He's got some guys in Corpus Christi. So Brockman came from Duluth there in the Arena League. I think I said that right. Where they won a championship there. Dante Mason and Jarvey is another one of his guys. Jarvey and Dante went there and played with Hassan there in Duluth and won a championship there with them. And their rules is a little weird. It was almost like flag football but tackle. So the way that you could catch a snap and toss it back to the receiver so they could throw it, because I think the quarterback wasn't allowed to run. So if you pitched it backwards to the dude, to one of your athletes, like receivers, like Hassan was mainly that guy, they pitched it back to him because he could still sling it, but he technically wasn't the quarterback that took the snap, so he can take off running if he could. So he's a pretty dynamic player. When you see him, as many plays as he makes, and when you're watching him on YouTube, when you actually see like his actual size, you're like, dang, that little dude is the one doing all this stuff. I mean, he plays bigger than what he is. He's a fast dude. He's gonna make a lot of plays. Excited to see how he's gonna fit into what we got going on. So we're anxious to see is some of his another one of his teammates signed in Corpus Christi. So there's a lot of those guys in Duluth. The coach there did a great job.
Haynes signed with us as well, also a Ben McToy guy.
Haynes, another program guy from Duluth, played at Duluth. I want to say, I think one of the receiver that we got, Richie Anderson, is one of his guys too. I mean, he's got his list goes on and on and on. He's probably, if we gave a list of players, he's probably got about, if I just off the top of my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 or 8 teams out there. Got some of his guys on there. So that's just a good testament to him. Of finding talent. So getting him in the mix with our director of player personnel, Jay Wilson, and getting them together. Between them two and myself, we did a really good job of putting this roster together this year, this offseason, going into the season. And, we still got some spots left, which, we talked a little bit about our tryout coming up on the 10th, but, we're trying to keep some of those spots open for some local guys, because we had some really good players that we picked up locally this past season that, again, some of them I might not have gave an opportunity to. But because of the situation we were in with the league we were in, we were able to do some, a few things differently, this year or that past season. So, one that was a real big contributor for us from one of the tryouts, Nick Coulter. Solid kid. John Marshall High School, I believe it is. Right there, local product there in the Wheeling area. He played a few games for us. There was a couple games that he didn't dress, but for the most part, he contributed some stuff for us, and it was cool to see his family come out and support him, and family and friends, and stuff like if the Wheeling Miners weren't there, he probably wouldn't have been playing football anywhere else. Maybe some semi-pro or something like that. But Ron Brown, a guy out of the Pittsburgh area, he was a multi-position player for us. Andy Plowden played running back for us, linebacker. Surprised me, a lot. With getting him from camp and some of the stuff that he did, from a tryout. Matter of fact, he was a callback guy. Him and Ron were callback guys from a previous tryout, came to the next tryout, and then we signed them. I think we signed 13 or 14 dudes to training camp, which was a lot of guys, from tryouts. You might sign 1 or 2 dudes or 3 guys maybe from tryouts. So that's just a good testament too for the area of some of the talent that's there. The local colleges that we had, again, we just signed a couple more guys from Wheeling U. Getting them in the mix, that's been a pretty good, setup for us as well. Also with Coach Mott. Yeah, man, what's going on, buddy? Coach Mott there, in his season at Wheeling, he's had a hand in, those Wheeling guys, obviously, being a Wheeling guy, Wheeling U DC, and getting those guys to come back. When you get players that are able to come back and play for you from other places, that's a good feeling. That just goes back to show, what we're trying to do as coaches, where, yeah, we want to win championships and rings and stuff like that, but we get bigger joys out of developing players, helping them move on and see them continue on and play. So from coaching them in high school, helping them get to college, and they come back and play arena football for you. Same thing with Coach Mott. You get to coach them in college, and then they go on, and then they come back and play professionally for you. It's just it just creates a different bond, with the teams that we put together. And that's why you're successful. Championship teams are successful because of the rapport that they have amongst each other, the camaraderie. We're fighting for each other. I'm playing hard for you. I'm sacrificing myself for you, for the betterment of the team. And when you have everybody doing that for each other, you ain't going to be beat. It's going to be a tough out, in any situation.
Well, speaking about championships, you can get your championship replica ring right now. Is the link still on the website there, Jeff? I think everything should be there. Yeah. So.
Yep.
And from what I've been hearing, they're going pretty well. So get your chance to get your championship replica ring.
Yeah, surprisingly. And when you say replica, it will actually be an authentic replica ring, the exact ring that the players, coaches, staff will be receiving at the ring ceremony. We're tentatively right now about February 22nd weekend. That's what I'm thinking. I want to do it with all the players that are there in camp so they can be a part of that season ticket pickup party. We're hosting at the same time of that so we can get everybody involved. Some of our staff felt it would be pretty cool to get everybody involved in the ring ceremony, to let the fans be a part of that and see the players. And we got to talking about it. How cool would it be if the fans had a ring, like if they were able to have a ring? And because some people asked about it, and so we're like, why not? It's not hurting anything. You say this ninth man, Miners Nation, and fans that help, and it's loud as crap and cause some false starts and pick six. In a playoff game, they're just as deserving of that ring as we are, and we're hanging the banner in the West Banco. Is going to be pretty cool. So getting them involved at the ring ceremony. Any fan that purchases a ring will be able to receive that ring at the ring ceremony with the players and coaches and be recognized, for supporting the team. And I mean, how cool is that? Especially if you're a kid, telling mom and dad, I'll get me a ring. I want a ring, and we even got some options for some pendants for some females that want a pendant. So we got some different options like that. So if you're interested in that, send us a message or comment on Facebook or whatever. You can email us online. You get through the contact page on our website. We're getting flooded with information. It's pretty cool to see I got about almost halfway through our 2024 season ticket list last year today, making phone calls. And the coolest part about that is when you have the conversation with them and they're like, the freaking coach is calling me. You know what I mean? Like it's like some of their minds were blown that, the coach is calling them. And I want them all to come back, and they're excited. And some of the ones that hadn't renewed yet just hadn't got around to it. And, so we are, getting that in order, and that's slowly coming around and picking back up. And so everything's rolling pretty good. Corporate sponsorships, we're working on that, starting to get some of those renewals back, rolling in good, and getting some headway with those. Probably not as fast as our ownership would like, but we're doing what we need to do, and there's a lot of excitement. One of our who's going to be helping us with a lot of stuff, really, I actually gave her the title of director of team operations for us. Julie, she was joking around about, not really joking around, but we were talking about, doing what we need to do in the community and building where we're at. It was almost like for us last year, we had to start from negative to get from negative to zero, with the fans of proving what we can do and what we're here to do. And then we're doing the things that we're saying we're going to do. And now they're excited about the next season, and then it's going to be even better than what it was last year. So when I had a good talk today with another union president with Coal Miners Association, which was pretty awesome to talk to him, and one we were partnered with last year. And then he's got connections with all the presidents of the posts and the union, and get all them together. And I kind of explained to him what I wanted to do with the vision of the coal miners. Like I want West Banco packed with screaming coal miners with miners beers in their hands, kids with plastic hard hats with freaking headlamps. And I mean, just make it pretty awesome. Like it's just a cool experience. And like I can't wait, for what we got going on. It's pretty dope.
And there's still season tickets are on sale, and we still have a payment plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that still initial? That's
on
the
the
website.
So
as well.
we actually started a payment plan. I think it's set up now online where you actually can choose drop down and all that stuff for that. The easiest, I tell everyone, just call the box office. The girls there will take care of you. If you have any questions, Casey does a great job with the ticketing there. She's like the lead ticket person that handles all that stuff there. She is huge in customer service. Like she will talk to anybody, help anybody. She's not like I'm the ticket manager, deal with the box office, anything like that. Cause you got some of those that are out there. We got a great staff all around at West Banco. So we're pretty blessed that, I got someone that we can kind of funnel the information to and let them kind of handle it for us. And, cause sometimes like Carolina, it was a nightmare dealing with tickets and Ticketmaster and, all that stuff. So it's pretty cool to be able to have that there in Wheeling.
Well, I know that you're on the phone call and talking to the fans. Hopefully you're not throwing strays at the fans like you do on your show. Because I know our next segment, I think there's going to be a lot of strays going to be thrown. Because the last time we did this, it got spicy all around the National Arena League to a point where I've had people come up to me. It's like, who did the rankings? Did you do the rankings? No, I didn't do the rankings. It's all Rez, and Jeff's the one who created it. I had nothing to do with it.
Hey, I was following direction. It says right there, Coach Rez's preseason rankings. It tells you exactly who they are.
So this rankings is based on.
And with that, anyone that had an issue, anyone that was pissed, or anyone was like, who the hell made these rankings? Not a soul sent me a message. Not a soul commented and said anything about it. So they weren't too mad about it. So, I'm not ashamed, to say who I feel is what. And these rankings, I think, are a little bit more respectable for some teams. I was throwing shade at some guys and here and there, just messing with them a little bit, but they're just rankings, fellas. My rankings don't mean anything. No, it doesn't, but it is my opinion of where we're at now, of where teams are. We got the 12 teams now. who's been actually really active in free agency, signing some players, signing some guys with some experience. I feel like there's some teams that are signing a lot of rookies that don't really have a whole lot of experience. Are they going to be pretty good, to start? Historically, they shouldn't be. But you don't take away from any of them because everyone prepares the same way, and you never know. You're going to find those diamonds in the rough of who's good and who's not. But just be ready. Just be the first thing to tell you. But I feel confident about these rankings. I'm sure some people won't be happy with them and like, are you kidding me? And it is what it is. If you don't like it, beat them, right? And then what Coach Meunier says, like, if you don't like it, beat us, so we'll shut up.
Yeah, and when he gets beat, he admits. But yeah, that's what Meunier does. It's like, you don't like it, beat us. At the end of the game, yeah. But he's a man of his word. That's one thing I like about Meunier. Are you ready to unveil the 12? Well, I'm not going to do like 12-team bracket. No. Here is Coach's Rez. This is Coach Rez's rankings. This is not me or Jeff. This is Coach Rez's rankings as of right now. Horsemen, Dusters, Spartans, Cobras, Stampede, Tritons, Lions, top 5, Renegades, Rubaru, Miners at 3, the defending champions, Beef at number 2, and the Sioux City Bandits at 1. Coach, who do you want to start off with and the reasons why you have them here?
Let's just start from 12-1.
12-1. Let me get the handy dandy technology here. Excuse me. My apologies. Okay. Why is it not working? There we go. Yes, it's working. Technology. Number 12 was the Idaho Stampede.
Horseman.
Or a Horseman. Horseman Stampede. We have too many horses in this league. Come on. Give me a break, man. I should know because I work for the league. But okay. Coach, take the floor.
Yeah, so is that the roster right there? How many they got on there?
Bad with math. I'm going to say around 30, roughly.
Yeah, and they're a lot of those guys I'm not 100% sure. I just felt from all the teams from where we're at right now, I felt like they have the longest to go as far as putting together a pretty good team for the 2025 season. Historically for them last year, I don't think they won a lot of games, but they won. I think they won a few games, but they got a lot to prove. Overall, just from my opinion. But I know, Chris there, he's gonna have those guys fired up. Maybe I'm doing this to give them a little bulletin board material, to get their guys fired up a little bit. Someone's got to be last, right? Someone's got to be Mr. Irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Rashad Flanders, I think, is the highlight player currently on their roster from last year that's returning to Idaho. I look at their roster and I see a lot of young guys, like you mentioned before. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of first-time players here. They brought people back from last year, but any indoor and arena team, you go as far as your QB. And right now, based on this rankings, I trust a hell of a lot more in Grant Russell than I do the Idaho quarterback right now because you don't know who it is. Because it's going to be a competition. We know who it is here in Wheeling.
I'll take the Grant Russell that was in Hawaii over their quarterback in Idaho.
No, Coach, you were stressing. I guarantee you. When Actually, no, the fans. Well, I remember doing this show last year. The comment section was blowing up. Where the heck is cute with Grant Russell?
Yeah,
you thought that was bad. You should have seen the YouTube stream.
We didn't say anything. We didn't say anything about it, and when we're announcing the players, and you got, I can't remember what jersey number he wore coming out, but you see the guys, and they're like, "Where's 12?" You're like, "Where's Grant?" It's pretty funny.
Well, he did get a hero
So
as
who
well
got
the
11?
following week. 11 is the Amarillo Dusters.
Amarillo Dusters. So I don't know much about their coach. The coach they hired, I know he's got some experience, background, whatever, down there in that area. Don't know a whole lot about him. But when he was talking, it sounded like they were going to be, putting a lot of wins up and beating a lot of people, and you got to prove that. You got to prove it, and he's one of those guys that don't really care what anyone has to say. So he'll probably be the first one to be thankful that I'm saying he's at 11. So because he'll be fired up about it, and he'll have some choice words, I would imagine, just knowing his demeanor of getting to know him a little bit on when he was on the show when they were announced and whatnot. So but we'll see. I like the fieriness. I like the energy. That's what we want. That's what we want, the competitive level, with what we have going on, and from start to finish. So
Well, Jeff, we had them on the last episode of Inside the Walls podcast, the ownership group and the head coach from Amarillo, and we can both agree that they, as people who we watched how Coach Rez represents the Willie Miners, as me who am a fan of Jacksonville, I know how that organization. You want a coach to act that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he had a lot of
compliments. Hey, we're just happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. No, he was keeping receipts. Yeah, he was keeping receipts.
Yeah.
But the couple there's some I've seen this roster, and there's some familiar names in here that I like. Jalen Childress, familiar. He's been around the block. Marcel Brooks has been around the block. There's a couple of guys I've seen in the NAL and the IFL and the AF1.
Yeah,
and the
one of my former players. One of my former players. See if you remember which one he is. He was one of the most recent players signed. Long time played with Amarillo. Long time played with the Venom for a few years.
DB,
pretty dang good. His nickname is a Wrecking Ball.
Dang, there you go. Stumping.
Any luck yet?
Dang it, it's Breaking Ball. I know the nickname. I can't match the face of the name.
He played for me in 2017 in High Country. Did I say his position?
Yeah, say his position.
Oh, okay. Because that could have gave it away, because there's probably not that very many of them on there. But Undra Hendricks. Hardin Simmons or something like that. Hardin. What is it? You scroll down some.
Right there.
Yeah, Hardin Simmons University. Yep.
Go back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So
if I would have saw his face, I would be like, bam. But the name doesn't matter.
He's probably been out of the game for a little bit, but I don't know if he's played semi-pro there in the area, because he's from down that area. I want to say he's from Abilene, or maybe that's where his school was at, is in Abilene. Not 100% sure.
Abilene College?
Can't remember, but yeah. But to see him play again is pretty cool. So I'm anxious to see how he does. I like to see some of my former players that are still playing, and wherever they go, and see the success that they can have, and so that'll be cool to see and watch. So but that'll really fire him up that they're 11, so he'll actually run a little harder.
Good point. Also, at number 10, we go out west to the newly relocated Colorado Spartans, who are now in Denver, Colorado. first off, that helps a lot with travel because anywhere you go out west, you fly into Denver. So you're going to end up in Denver if you head out west somehow. It's like
Yeah.
when you come east, you run into Atlanta. You can't get away from Atlanta. You go out west, you're going to run into Denver.
Yeah.
And the Colorado, you have them at number 10. And a couple guys, well, the quarterback, we've talked about him before, Jason Whitaker. He really showed out at the end of the year to help them be competitive. And Stephen Newbold Jr., the wide receiver from Tennessee State, he was their number 1 go-to receiver last year. So they're bringing 2 key contributors back to Colorado, but there's still some guys on that team that have little to no experience. But they got 2 fundamental pieces back on the roster, especially at the QB position, which is key. Your thoughts there, Coach?
Yeah, I think overall, they haven't made a lot of moves yet. I don't know if that's from because that's all that they have listed, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't really know what to make of that. It could be a number of things, especially with them moving. Maybe they hadn't been too focused on the player portion part of it yet because they got a lot of business stuff going on. I don't know. I know Coach Shaw is going to be prepared. I know Coach Shaw is going to put together a pretty good roster. So I'm sure we'll have another one of these once we're in camp or before camp, right when everyone's pretty much gearing up for everything. So,
well, he's also in Denver, and there's
yes,
there's
sir.
talent
What's
in
up,
Denver.
man?
So he's going to find talent in Denver, and wherever Coach Shaw's going, he found a lot of nobodies in San Antonio, and now they're household names in the indoor community.
Yeah,
who are currently still in San Antonio, or they've moved on to I think Albany and Nashville. So there's a couple of players that he's found that Shaw found that went up the ranks. So I think Shaw's going to find he one thing I know about Shaw, he's a scrappy coach. All of his teams are always scrappy. They're always in the games. I don't think he really got blown out in games really badly.
Mm-hmm.
He had a couple of games last year, 2 years ago with San Antonio where they just ran out of gas because 22-hour bus rides do that to teams. You get off the bus, you don't want to play.
Yeah.
But I expect them going to Denver. You're in the bigger market now. You're going to get a lot more talent that can get access there. And I think he's going to find a squad, but in my opinion, you got the 2 key pieces, Newbold and Whitaker back, which will help an offense trying to establish itself, especially in the western part of the league. I think they could compete very well out there.
Yeah, and I know their owner. I met him. At the league meeting, Tony. He seems like a pretty big competitor himself. So, you just try to stir up some stuff, man. Get some guys excited for what's going on. And I'm sure he's a salesman. His real life job is, I think he owns a dealership or something like that. He's been in car sales, most of his life. So, he's definitely going to do what he needs to do to be competitive. So, you try to fuel the fire a little bit and get guys, excited for everything that he's doing business wise, break up the monotony a little bit of, oh my gosh, this guy's talking junk about we need to get our stuff together, maybe energize some people a little bit. So that's pretty cool.
Well, and number 9 comes in your former club in Greensboro, North Carolina. It is the Carolina Cobras.
Which they just released their uniforms today, which they look pretty cool. I still think that, matter of fact, Coach Back even mentioned it too on commented on one of their things that need to bring back the silver and black or something like that. So that was a pretty good staple for them.
I'm a big fan of old school Carolina Cobra colors.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really know what those are with the yellow and red and black. It's pretty dope.
Those are fire, and the logo is still, well, it's not the same, it's similar.
Yeah.
And here is who
I
the
don't.
Carolina Cobras have signed. Right. Well, they have a good. I didn't realize it had this many people, but go ahead, Coach.
No, go ahead. How
I was
many
gonna
people they
say,
got on there?
I'm just doing quick off the top of my head. Around 20. Well, that's more than 20. 25, 20. Around
What's the
30.
most? What's the last day that someone signed?
9A on the transaction list. Last day was 9/18.
Yeah, they had just had a tryout this weekend too. It seemed like they had a decent turnout.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what type of like quality players was out there or whatnot, but they had good numbers and it was outdoors. Luckily, the weather had held off for them, so it was a decent day. Saturday morning, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday morning, Saturday or Sunday. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday morning, but I'm sure it was a little windy. But it wasn't the weather. It was nice. It was a nice day. I'm sure there was a little remnants of the wind from the hurricane, but I think it was okay. It seemed like it was decent for them where
Of
they're
course,
at. But overall, I mean, I'm not too excited for what they got with their roster. They got a couple guys on there that can play. Summers is probably their best overall player on the roster, so hopefully they can put some stuff together for him. And who is that you highlighted?
Sean Cohagen.
Oh yeah, I don't know about Palmetto Prep. Yeah, he played. That means he played at a post grad school. So hopefully he went on somewhere after that. But some guys
City.
like to some guys like to put their high school and stuff like that. Where they played. So he said he played in Quad City.
He led the team in tackles in Quad City.
Cool. So he got some experience. So maybe he's a South Carolina guy. That's why he put Palmetto Prep. They got quite a few players that come out of there and go. It's like a JUCO. It's like a post grad JUCO school. So they go there. Maybe they didn't have an SAT score or something, and they needed an extra education wise to help get into a school. It's basically the way that North Carolina and South Carolina has a JUCO program. Is really the only way they can do that through like a post grad. We don't have any 2-year schools that play football like in Alabama and Mississippi. I think more so Mississippi. Like Summers, he's a product of a JUCO. He went to Hines Community College after he went to Hargrave Military Academy out of high school. So it happens all the time. So that's good. I mean, at least he's got some experience for him.
They signed Brantley Allen too.
A lot of the roster, and I don't mind talking junk about it because it's going to be one of our rivals, and it'll be some good games and fiery games. We'll take a couple fan buses down to Greensboro, so we're looking forward to that. So yeah, we'll do the same. Going to another close trip for us to Harrisburg.
What was that, Jeff?
Miners fans might notice the name of Brantley Allen. Played with Peach State against us in the championship game. Coach Negron was in the house, but Brantley Allen only played half a quarter, got thrown out. So maybe he's seen what he wanted to see, and that was good enough for him.
Is that you throwing a little shade there, Jeff? What?
Brantley's a good player. I mean, we talked to him a little bit. We talked to him about possibly coming to Wheeling, and for whatever reason, we lost communication about it and whatnot. But our wide receiver room is pretty solid, so I think we're doing pretty okay at wide receiver.
Next team on the list is ranked number 8, and it's going to be it's not really in-state, but it's pretty dang close of being an in-state rivalry. That's the boys over in Harrisburg, the Harrisburg Stampede. Mm-hmm. And their roster consists of currently right now 25 signed players.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a type of individual. I look at this roster, and this is when I literally will go say this and be professional about it. I need to do more research on Harrisburg, on a lot of these players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me not doing my job. I do apologize. So I have no
Mm-hmm.
opinion on this roster as of yet. But these two
A
gentlemen
lot of
behind
them,
me do know a lot about this roster.
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them played at Jersey last year.
Yeah.
Jersey Bearcats.
Yeah, they,
Yep.
yeah, they picked up quite a few of their players. I mean, Jersey Bearcats was a good team.
Hmm.
If Jersey
Mhm.
Bearcats had a different venue, they'd be in the NAL. I mean, it's just that simple. AJ and them do a heck of a job there. It's unfortunate for teams like that for what they do that they can't be a part of what we're doing in the NAL. It's just because it's just tough to play in those type facilities. I mean, it is. AJ be the first one to tell you, like they don't like it, but they're just doing what they're able to do. Like that's where they're at. They could easily come up with the money to play in Trenton and do what they need to do there and play at that arena, but that's never been successful. So why would you waste all this money to be in a venue is not supported? And then you're going to be like, oh, they folded. Well, because no one's going to the games. like no one supports that. I mean, even back when I coached at Harrisburg, in 14, there was a team called the Trenton Steel playing in there. They had decent fan base, but it was still not the greatest. They couldn't have been making a lot of money. Knowing what I know now from the business standpoint, I wasn't real big in the business that part of it early on in my career. And, when I started in 11 and I'd always been doing player personnel stuff, with some friends doing AFL stuff and traveling the country, doing workouts, national combines and stuff like that. I wasn't looking at the ticket sales and the sponsorships and the everything that goes on the business side. I was about players, putting together good teams and, just coaching. That's what we do as a coach. But some of the players, I know some of the players there in Harrisburg. Devin Thomas, was with us, finished the season with us. He started off in Harrisburg last year. Played pretty much their whole season. Finished. They're out with their season. Played the last game with them. Come play with us. Finished. We were talking about him coming back to us, but I felt like he had a better connection in Harrisburg. That's why he chose to go back to Harrisburg, which is fine. The players are going to do what they need to do, for themselves. Just it's just one of those things that you think you have a certain like rapport with someone, and then like you're totally off base. So we as coaches, we get it wrong sometimes. We don't always necessarily keep one guy over the other. Then we should have kept the other dude. That always happens. We're gonna miss on some dudes, but he's there in Harrisburg, so I'm familiar with him. He's a good player. There's some other guys there. I hadn't really dove into their roster. There's just a lot of history there with Harrisburg, there in that area. So their coaches are experienced, have been around for a long time. So they're definitely going to be ready to play. They'll be one of those scrappy bunches. They put you in the mind of like the way Columbus plays, like just real gritty. It'll be a fight, all the way through. So I'm looking forward to those games. I'm excited about those games, and I don't mind a little fire here and there.
Well, going back to the rankings, number 7 is a team from South Texas, the Corpus Christi Tritons. We mentioned them earlier in the episode about a lot of the players from Duluth making their way down to Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
About like there's almost like a little pipeline almost heading that way now. But with Corpus Christi, I do have a couple of comments about Corpus. There's a lot of guys that I have familiar. Leon A. Wiggins played here in Jacksonville last year. Good defensive tackle. How can I describe him? He has a lot of sudden bursts of speed, but he can clog up running lanes. But he's more of a penetrator type of defensive lineman, except for a run stopper. And of course, there's a DB on here that's been here. That's been I don't know how long he's been playing. Jadarius Byrd played at Jacksonville, played at Quad City, played Sioux Falls. I think he's played at other teams. So there's some guys here that have history with not just the NAL but other leagues, and you keep going down there, you see some familiar names who've played at San Antonio. Due to you can say it's the friendship between the ownership group there in Corpus Christi and the San Antonio Gunslingers, because of the original owners of San Antonio are currently the ones in Corpus Christi. You have familiar guys. Devin Maxwell is one of them, and another one that is. I don't think did they even update it yet? Robert Fuentes. There is. There's another guy. So there's a couple individuals in here that have history with the game. So they have experience, but the guy who they're very high on, and I think Coach Rez will talk, well, we mentioned them before, is the quarterback from was it the River Kings in Duluth? Dothan?
River Monsters.
River Monsters. Who are the River Kings?
Cedar Rapids.
Cedar Rapids. There's same area of the country too. And they got Talon Shaw, who's another quarterback, experienced, who's been around West Texas, Amarillo, Duke City. So Corpus has a lot of experience, also a lot of young talent. That's my opinion on just looking right here, based on a short.
I'll say one thing about one of the O linemen. So McLean DeJua, I don't even know how you say his name, but we had him. Like we were signing him to come to Wheeling, right? And I'm not going to say the group's name, but I mean people will be able to figure it out once they figure out who he's associated with and all that. Their group is so notorious for shopping players that are already like picked up. Like if your player is already signed, like signing somewhere, contract sent, committed, that's where they're going, and then you shop that player to other teams, like that's what pisses me off about these groups. Like if you're representing someone, then represent them and know what the hell they're doing. Right? If they're going somewhere already and you've already talked to our player personnel guy, that's how we got the information about the dude, and then we're signing him, send him a contract, because I don't send contract. I just don't. There's coaches that just blanket contracts out to players and hope they sign, maybe they sign, whatever. I don't do that mess. I don't chase dudes. Like we're gonna talk. I got a player personnel guy. He handles all that. He tells me, hey, they're on, let's go, this is where we're at. Boom, perfect. I send out the contract. Bam. When I send the contract out, I want the contract in their inbox. They sign it. It comes back. I turn it in. I'm not waiting for contracts to be turned back in so they can say, oh, I got this offer, I'm going to talk to this team. No, either you're committing or you're not. Either you want to be here or you don't. It doesn't matter to me. If you commit, you're in. Let's make it happen. So I'm not upset with Corpus Christi. Corpus Christi is going to go after the best players that they can get after. And if that group sends them a list of players and he's on it, they're going to make the phone call of who they want to talk to and make it happen. It's partly on the fault of the players too. They know who they talk to, but at the same time, they're doing what's best for them. So I'm not upset at the player. I'm just frustrated with their group that he's a part of, because they're notorious for that. And it's happened a couple times. And I'm like, that's why I don't freaking deal with them because it's just, I don't like the shadiness. Like I try not to deal with groups, through the years, just because, you don't know what you're dealing with on some of these people. I've never really had a player personnel guy. I've had one off and on through the years. He's passed away, not with us anymore. Clayton Banner. I don't know if you guys remember that name or not, but having a player personnel guy like Jay Wilson with his experience and his knowledge of the game and been around for so long, and the database that he's attached to with National Scouting Combine, being a part of that group, on staff with them, it has been big. So technically I do support staffs like that that are part of groups, but they don't specifically like represent players. They're more of housing the players as far as like a database and working combines and getting the numbers on these guys. So that's huge. So having someone like Jay, who's legit at what he does, it's a breath of fresh air when you got people around you that are really helping and pushing everything towards what your vision is for what we're trying to do.
Well, speaking of new teams in the NAL, another team that we've had discussion behind the scenes about this organization, that is the Shreveport. Excuse me, I skipped a spot. We're not in the top 4, top 5. We're talking about the Beaumont Renegades. I went to Shreveport. We'll talk about them next.
Don't forget about Columbus.
Did we
Yeah, you
miss
skipped
Columbus?
Columbus.
Who cares about Columbus? Yeah, let's go back to Columbus. Casey was like, "What? You skipped Columbus? Let's go to Columbus quickly because got to talk
The
about
Columbus
Marcel
Lions,
Brooks."
man. They've got some good players back. It seems like a lot of their players from last year is coming back. A lot of those players have been there through the years. They just picked up Zach Brown, and that makes sense for him though, because he's
down the street from
pretty,
where he lives.
It's pretty close for him, with his family. He's coaching. I did reach out to him and see what was up with them, and but glad to see him close to the house, and he's got a lot of family down that way and friends, and so it's cool for guys that are, he don't have a lot of time left, so to be able to play and have, the people close to you be able to come support you, that's always a good feeling. So good to see him down there, and Columbus is going to be pretty good this year. So.
Well, they bring back their starting quarterback from last year, Marcus Brooks, and they added to that depth with Giovanni Sanders and Draco Statham. Dude's been everywhere. He's played at every single league almost. Very experienced. But we both know Columbus is that ragtag group. They can find people. It's Georgia and Alabama territory. They're going to find some dudes. That's Columbus. And you look at their history, they are always winning. I don't even remember a losing season from them. It's been a while. Coach Rez may know because he was part of the team that didn't make the playoffs. That was the last time Columbus didn't make the postseason. He reminds me a lot about that when I mentioned that on this show or any other show. He goes, "No, we have one. They had one losing season, and I was on the team, or didn't make the playoffs." So, but hey,
yeah.
Columbus is a team that we can both agree, all of us can agree, if the postseason 6 or 8 teams, they're going to be in it. It's the Columbus way. They just find a way to play in postseason football. That's who they are.
Just think, but has Columbus won an NAL championship yet?
No, they have not.
No. So
0-3.
The going thing on them is like they're the Buffalo Bills of the NAL. So it's and that's not fair to like Coach Daniels because he's been there for a long time and as a player. So this would be his second year as the coach, I believe. Second year as the head coach, maybe third. I'm pretty sure it's the second. But he's there. That's where he lives too. So to be able, it's always cool to be able to coach where you live, because the people that the connections that you have, it just brings a different meaning to what you're trying to build. It just
easier
adds
to sell too. It's easier to sell corporate sponsors, especially if you're local. You know who to go after.
Hands down. It is the easiest. I don't think Coach Daniels sells a lot, though. I think he just focuses on the coaching. He may. I don't want to speak on saying that he doesn't because he may.
Casey does it the most.
I just know for what he does, and he's really busy in the community. He trains players. I think he still coaches high school. So he's pretty busy himself. I'm waiting to see if Old Fortune's going to come back. That'll be cool to see him. See him again. He's been playing for a long time.
He's like ZB though. ZB will announce like, yeah, I think this is it, and then he gets that itch 4 months later, and then he's like, oh, I'm coming back. That's the same with Fortune. He'll do the same thing.
But they got some good players, Richard and them, and I got a lot of respect for their ownership, Richard and Casey. Richard was part owner of the Cobras, when I was there. Always good to have good people like that around. And, Columbus is in good hands, with him involved. And, Casey busts his tail for that team. And, they do a good job. So I'm excited to be able to go back to Columbus. I enjoyed playing there. It's just a cool experience, cool atmosphere with the fans. You know, they got some really tough fans. It's a tough place to play. You definitely got to be on your crap, man. You got to be able to play. So you just got to be able to be on your game, or the fans, they're not going to let you live it down. You know, those are the type of fans that look people up on social media and they know about their families, and oh, your wife Carrie is a blah 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 blah. You know, and it's like, how the hell you know who I'm married to? It's just stuff like that they do, man. It's very unique, and it's just cool experience.
And it's also a big military town as well. So you see a lot of military stuff there. If you have a chance, fans, to go to Columbus, you'll notice the military presence in Columbus. Well, I made the skip because I actually skipped Columbus. That's my bad. But the next team is the Beaumont Renegades. You have them at number 5. We've talked about this roster before, Coach, and we have our opinions behind the scenes that we don't want to bring forward, but a lot of talented players have had great stints in other leagues.
Yeah.
Some bigger names and some unknown big names like Daquan Patton, Albany, coming back to the NAL. Xavier Crawford played at the Washington was it Huskies or Wolves or the AFL team from last year. He comes down. Yeah, Quan Alfred. Like, I look at this team. Sidney Jones is another one. I'm seeing a lot of.
We even we talked to Zuri Davis, Keontae Griffin. You know, we had them on our board. You know, I thought we were in a pretty good running to get those guys on board with us, and I guess we just couldn't compare to what they got going on down there in Beaumont. So
I look at Beaumont. I go, okay, I see what they're doing. They're going after guys who've played. Not going to bust a bubble here. A lot of arena football, not a lot of indoor football. That's a different transition of the game. Different style of play. Yeah, you got some good names and got some good talent, but can they transition to the indoor style game compared to what they're used to playing in actual arena rules? I look at both. I look at the names and these are good names. I've seen them in the AFL. I've seen them in the IF or the NAL, and I've seen them in the old AFL days.
Yeah,
there's some solid. There's some vets here.
Well, there's around the block. There's a lot of guys in their front office that got a lot of experience.
Correct.
You know, the head coach. You know, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's got a decent background. You know, he's been in some places, so he's got a lot of experience. I mean, I think he was the head coach of the Soul. You know, when they were trying to play last year. He was part of that debacle and ended up, getting stuck with all that. It is unfortunate with all the stuff that happened negative with the teams, for the players and coaches is what you hate.
Teams confused. Pat's the coach of Shreveport.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
He's the head coach of Shreveport.
Oh, yeah, wrong one.
Yeah.
I don't know who the coach is in Beaumont.
Dang it. I have it here somewhere.
Did they say who it was?
Yes, they did. They've made an announcement already on it.
Oh.
I just can't. I don't.
Well, I'm sure he's got some experience because the players that they're signing, they're not going to sign dudes with experience and then a coach that doesn't. So. But anyways,
Beaumont has a lot of connections with Massachusetts too. The Pirates. That's how.
Yeah, well, that's with Sam.
Yeah.
But I got them at 5 overall just because of the players. I felt like they got a pretty strong roster. I feel like. Really, 1 through 6 could be any way. I mean, that someone has to be 1 through 6. Columbus could very well be in the top 3, top 5, easy. It's just naturally where it falls. Renegades being at 5. I think Shreveport at 4. They were pretty big on free agency. Keith and them are doing a heck of a job of getting their stuff together. Jokingly, we were talking on the phone about some business stuff the other day, and he was like, we were pretty cracked up about where you had us last time in the preseason rankings. It was like I can't remember exactly where it was at, but I'm pretty sure 4 is better than where it was before. So, but they got some good players. They're signing some decent guys. This is where Coach Pimmel is at now. So. And he's been around a little bit, so they got a lot of good players. They got some pull on some stuff. You see a lot of their dudes. They got a lot of. You know what? back to Beaumont real quick. Isn't that where the receiver that just passed away, wasn't he their coach?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't think they've replaced him yet. I don't think. Maybe they have. I'm not 100% sure, but anyways, the roster they got here is pretty solid.
Interesting. But when you look at Shreveport, you got an experienced head coach who has been in the game for a while, Arena Bowl champion head coach, the old AFL when it was actually the AFL, not the crap show that was last year. I look at their team and I see a lot of these dudes who are on this team are from the old Georgia Force and the old New Orleans Voodoo that never got off the ground last year. So you got to see a lot of these players coming over here to Shreveport. There's some
but again, arena players.
Arena style. So there's going to be a learning curve. I learned that the hard way with my hometown team last year. A massive learning curve. But
I think Gibson learned that as well, because
the players that we're signing here in Jacksonville fit the indoor game a lot better than the arena game. So there's a lot of players that are signed. I can't say anything yet because I don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's part of the business. I'm not these websites that leak out information.
As a perfect example, it's a great point of what we're talking about with the arena and indoor style. Coach Gibson's one of those coaches that's in his ways. Like he has his ways of doing things, and he don't care what people have to say about whatever he's doing. He's going to do what he feels is best for what they're doing. And sometimes, you want to say that's, stubborn in a sense. It is. It took him to lose some games to realize that maybe he needs to change up a little bit. Maybe it is, different because it is. I'm 100%. Even from a player standpoint, the type of players you're going to have. And he's a good football coach, so he knows he knows what he's going to have to do when it's time to make adjustments from that standpoint. And I feel like the Sharks will be back this upcoming season, and I would be shocked if they don't make the playoffs this year. Just to say that. There you go. Make you feel good a little bit.
Thank you. I like to take this opportunity to thank God. No, I'm really ecstatic for the guys that we're getting down here in Jacksonville, so I'm really excited for that. But that's the IFL. This is the Willie Miners, and we're talking about the NAL. Let's get into the top 3.
Yeah.
And do we need to gloat about our Willie Miners, or do you just want to go to the Omaha Beach?
No, we don't. Yeah, we don't. We could be up there at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, you can really put us anywhere. I just really feel with what we got going on with the roster we got put together. I mean, we're going to be competitive. I don't care what league we're playing in last year. That crap don't matter. You line up, put the ball down, and we make it happen. Like, we're going to play. So I'm confident in my background, my experience. The coaching staff we put together. I mean, we got one of the top coaching staffs in the game. We can talk about some of them with Coach Mott, the DC. Just excited with what he's got going on. Our OC, Sean Lyota. We'll talk about some of the rest of the stuff this week probably, but our O-line D-line coach this year will be Jeremy Lyota, his brother. Dude's got experience in the game. With the toys we got to mess with our roster, like, it's going to be tough. So Omaha, I hated to put Omaha at number 2 because they're defending champions and all, but when you lose your main dude, everyone's got eyes on you to see what are you going to do. What's going to be the answer, right? So,
and they did sign Taz Wilson, but Taz Wilson is not what they had last year.
No.
Taz Wilson, he's decent.
Yeah.
He can win you some games, but
But was it Mac? Mac, one of the running backs. He's solid. He's going to be one of the top running backs in the league. So they got some pieces. They got some weapons coming back. It's just going to be interesting to see their quarterback situation. Yeah, I mean, Wilson's a solid player, but he's not what they had. You know what I mean? I mean, everyone knows it. He's definitely not a Grant Russell, So, but he's good in his own right. Like everyone has their own style, and he'll fit for what they're trying to do. It'd be the closest thing they have right now to Tommy, but and it's just anxious to see what they're going to do. That's why I got him at second. They could easily be first.
Yeah,
I
but
just
Tommy Armstrong is a completely different animal.
Oh, for sure. I mean, 100%.
I think he was basically. Well, I think the top three quarterbacks last year in all three leagues were Grant, Tommy Armstrong, and Dalton Snead. 1, 2, and 3, based on the three different leagues. But there was something about Tommy Armstrong last year when shit had to get done. He said, "No, I'm taking it over. It's my time."
Yeah. Well, see, talking about that, you can even look back historically. I could be wrong. This might be more of a question for Matt. Have they ever been undefeated before these last two seasons?
No, they haven't.
And
I can answer that question now.
Who is that quarterback?
Tommy Armstrong.
I mean, there's not. That's not. Is that a coincidence or?
Well, you got to realize they've been around for 26 seasons, so I guarantee they might have had an undefeated season, but that's 20 some odd years ago.
Yeah.
And they just recently went back to back. They have the current longest winning streak in the indoor/arena game. Kind of odd. We got the 3 longest winning streaks in the game in the same league.
Yeah.
Most likely we'll be playing each other in this season. So,
yeah.
But I look at Omaha, and when I look at Omaha, I see a team they know how to win. You don't go 2 years without a loss and thinking that you just show up and win. They're going to play you. And Tommy Armstrong was a main contributor to that. But I just have a feeling because of their history and their tradition, they're just going to be like Columbus. They're going to find ways to get in the games, win games, and be there at the end of the year. Just that's what Sioux City is. That's what Omaha is. That's what Columbus is. That's what Wheeling is. Like, we got 4 organizations that it's championship or it's a failure of a season. And that's one thing I'm excited about this upcoming season. So we got 4 organizations that expect to win a title this year. Only one will.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, Ricky and them, they're grinding it out right now, on the business side, and I'm sure that still in the back of his mind of how things are going to be from that standpoint. He does a good job. He lets his coaches coach, and his coaches handle all that stuff. So it's but as the owner, you're still going to be trying to figure out where are we going to fit with everything, and hopefully it all everything happens the way it's supposed to.
And number 1, you have the Sioux City Bandits. And I think the reason why you have them at number 1 is because what we mentioned is the quarterback. Verlon Reed returned to Sioux City. As a person who covered the NAL last year, the difference between Verlon Reed's Sioux City Bandits last year and the previous 2 quarterbacks they had like 3 quarterbacks last year. The previous 2 was night and day. The offense was more explosive because his ability to scramble and his accurate throwing.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But you got guys there, Fred Bruno.
Fred Bruno is one of their guys that has been there for ages, right? Like year after year after year. Like that's their dude.
Football was invented and he was playing the Sioux City.
Yeah.
That's how long he's been there. And they have
Shepard.
Where is he at? There's another guy that's been there. Oh.
Isn't Chris Perry one? Hadn't Chris Perry been there for a while too, or no?
Yes, he's been there for a few seasons, but he hasn't been as long there as Fred Bruno has. I don't know how to pronounce that. Projaska? That's how you... Andrew? He's been there forever. I just butcher his name. If there's Sioux City
now,
fans...
I know Laurent Vasson. He won a championship with me in 2018 with the Habit. I was wondering where he had been at through the last couple of years, and so it's cool to see him playing there. Did he play there last year?
It doesn't ring a bell, no.
But he's a pretty good player. He puts you in the mind of like a Khalil, with us. that type of player. Pretty solid. But yeah,
Prohaska, thank you.
really the main reason for being number one for me with them, is the quarterback. Reed's a dude, man. He's going to be tough. You definitely got to be able to. Contain him. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to be a guy that you can't let just take over the game. He's going to get his, but you got to contain it. Like you're not going to shut him down. So you got to be able to be explosive on your end. It'll be a dogfight. I mean, those are the games that is going to go to the end, because when you got a trigger puller like him, a lot can happen, at any time. It's cool to see those games as close as they were to a championship. They had their moments to win. Ricky will go up and down and tell you that, there was one certain play where they were in or got the first down or something, and it was wrong, and it was ruled wrong, and it shouldn't have been. And it shouldn't even have been where it was at. And, as close as it was, stuff like that. But it was, so they had their chances. I mean, heck, if they kick that extra point, they win.
Yeah, it came down to the coach not trusting the kicker, and that cost them the championship.
Yeah, but when you're watching and you don't know that whole dynamic of why they did it like that,
because he didn't make one all game,
right? But then when you find out that he was missing them, and you're like, well, okay, yeah, that's why he went for it. But it's like I'm sure Reed would have liked to have done a different play than what they did, just because if you're going to go for it, then go for it. But he made a good effort. And again, they still had a chance. But you say the difference of the teams, when Carolina played Sioux City the first time, Verlon wasn't there.
No.
And I think Carolina won that game pretty handily towards the end.
Yeah.
The score probably wasn't like how the whole game was, but they technically they blew them out, really. And so they felt like they had a chance, when they're playing them again, because they beat them the first time. It was like, bro. Like, it's not even the same team. Like, how do you think that that's going to happen?
And they went to Sioux City the second to last week of the season
and got smoked.
Yeah. They've got a good duo too, from both played at Oklahoma State, Shepard, the receiver, and then former first round draft pick and Justin Gilbert too, who was drafted by the Browns in the first round. So he's really made the transition to Arena. He's been playing in Sioux City to be his third season there, so he's really a household name for them.
Well, I'll say, and then the second reason, about as equally as important as Verlon, the coaching staff that they have,
it's been there
is
for a while.
pretty dang good, and they've been there a long time. The head coach there. Unfortunately, I still can't remember his name. I couldn't tell you the name, but I'm visually seeing him. But I'll get to know those guys' names here, through the season and whatnot, and through our coaches' calls and all that stuff. But a good staff. You will see. You can remember this show when we're talking later in the season of the difference of the teams that are there competing for playoff positioning there at the end, getting it deep to the playoffs, being right there at the end for the championship games, is going to be the coaching staffs. Who has the all-around team? Not just one dude, not just one player who got the best player. Is who has what teams are, how the teams are functioning, how the teams are put together, the coaching staffs that you have in place. All that's going to come to play. Is going to be important factors in a lot of this stuff. And I'm pretty confident our coaching staff, we're going to be one of those teams that are right there. We have a great staff. I'm very confident that some of these staffs don't touch what we got going on. But then there's some coaching staffs that are pretty solid, and we got to be on our A game. We got to make sure that the players are prepared, the film's there, the film study, all that, but that's what makes it exciting. That's why we do what we do, to be competitive.
Well, before we wrap up the show, we have some questions from the fans. But before that, we have a video to play, Coach, because we debuted something earlier this week.
Nice.
jerseys, new jerseys,
Yeah.
home, away, and alternate. These are from our friends down south in Corpus Christi. How did design come up, Coach? What was the goal in these jerseys? Um,
Yeah.
are you still
So
doing themed jerseys? I know
yeah,
you're going. Okay.
we'll still have a couple of themed jerseys. I'm waiting for the schedule to really be finalized for us to really get an idea of, from theme standpoint and how we want to structure that.
Yeah.
I've always liked Star Wars, for us. It's always a cool one. But like I've said it before, our area is like a huge Harry Potter thing for some reason. I'm not very big in Harry Potter, so I'll be leaning on Jeff and Chris and those guys that are familiar with how that's been there through the years of, what we need to do with the Harry Potter stuff, because I'm not too keen on all that stuff. But
Me either.
we want to do what works, right? So if that's a big seller and a big deal, then we're going to do what we got to do to please the fans. So we'll definitely have some military night was definitely going to be a specialty jersey. Our coal miner appreciation was a cool one we did. That jersey. But then you talk about all the theme nights that we have, so that means we got to play a couple postseason games so we can get some extra stuff rolling. So that's definitely the plan. But yeah, I'm excited about our uniforms. The design itself, usually, I get with Hector and we talk about some of the stuff that we want, and he designs it for the most part, and then we tweak some things here and there, how we want to adjust some stuff. Same thing last year with our uniforms. Last year's uniform stuff was more of a debacle than anything. He bailed us out with some stuff with that. So I kept coming back to him. We did our fan jerseys through him, which was a huge success. We got our first shipment that were sold out almost. I mean, this is the stuff that he does for us, takes care of us. The manufacturer, the shipper or whatever sent him some extra jerseys that wasn't necessarily on the ticket, and he couldn't do anything with them. So what did he do? Like, he sent them to us. And when I got the box, he said, I got some extra jerseys for you. I'm like, awesome. There was like 23 jerseys in there. I'm like, that's dope. There's 23 jerseys that's not accounted for on our end. So when we're selling those are straight profit of what we make off those jerseys, which is awesome. That's a home run right there, from a merchandise standpoint. So, we'll definitely do something with the jersey stuff. These uniforms that we're getting, last year we sold everything. Like, we were getting rid of all of our stuff. We may do that again this year with our jerseys. It depends. I really got what we wanted this time, so I'd rather fill in some replacements that we need on some things and add in another look, different things like that, than revamping the whole thing every time. But we'll see. If the fans want to buy them, we're going to sell them. So, that's we're in the business to make money too. So if we're able to sell stuff and they're going to buy it, then we're going to make it happen. So. But yeah, we're excited about the uniforms. We will be one of the better looking teams. We usually are. That's just I will say that I really got deep into the apparel stuff and the uniform stuff after working with Coach Back with the Cobras there in 19. There isn't too many guys that do it better than him, uniform wise, and so that's kind of cool to try to be the best from that aspect, because I've been telling the players in NAL, there's player uniform violations. You get fined for, not wearing certain things the right way. Just all kinds of different, that's just the difference of, where we're at. And we held the standard of what we were doing last year to prepare those guys for that. So it isn't all of a sudden you're going to get fined, or why are we wearing tights? What do you mean our shirt can't hang out the bottom of our jersey? Well, because it looks stupid. You know what I mean? It doesn't look uniform across the board. When you're watching on TV, on YouTube, like, you don't want to look like freaking Rugrats running around, with crazy stuff going off everywhere, different colored socks. All that, all the spats the same, socks the same, tights the same, undershirts are the same, and you look good, and that's respectable. And a lot of times you tell the difference of the teams that are disciplined and all those little details, and those are teams that are successful. Those are teams that are always there at the end and winning games. And not having crazy issues off the field stuff, and it's just all the little things matter. And our guys get it, and our guys buy into what we do. We take care of our guys, and they take care of us back and forth, and they do a good job. I mean, it's all one big team effort.
Speaking of a big team effort, we've had this a couple of times in the chat. When will the schedule be released, or any updates on such schedules?
I wish we had it. I hate when people ask like we're holding it hostage and we're not trying to share the schedule, because we got season ticket holders on standby that don't want to buy tickets yet until they know when the dates are, which I've always thought is crazy, because you're buying the game package. But I get it, because people go on vacations, people got to go out of town, people might have to take off work sometimes. If like our first home game is probably going to be on a Monday night, so fans were going to want to know. They might not be able to come on a Monday night. They might have the night shift. So okay, I understand. Well, you can have the 4-game package then. You figure out all that standpoint of what you need to do. But sponsors want to know when's the schedule. If we're selling game day football sponsors, what day is that going to be on? Do we have company stuff going on? We're not going to be able to do it that. So there's all kinds of reasons. And Ricky would be the first one to tell you that he wishes it's out now, because he's the one doing it, and it's a pain in the butt. It's not easy putting together schedules, because you got to deal with everybody's dates, and some people don't understand that you got to give more than 5 dates. So it makes it harder on the person building the schedule, because you got to make it match for. If you only have 5 dates in the arena, then guess what? Those are the 5 dates that you have to play in. That means it's going to bump someone else out of what they got going on, because they have to be on that date, because they don't have any more dates than that. So it just, I hope it's sooner than later. I know we want it out as soon as we can. Hopefully it can come out within the next week or two. Could it be by the end of the month? Probably. Could it be within a week? Maybe. It all depends. I hope it's sooner than later, so we can get rolling on some stuff.
Well, I know I want the schedule to come out, because me and Jeff and Matt want to make an announcement, like get it out so we can be prepared for Inside the Walls podcast on location for NAL game day. We're waiting for the schedule to drop. We can't schedule stuff if we don't have a schedule. So we do know that for sure, and there is a highly likely chance that we will be in Wheeling for that game. If
I know 2 out of the 3 in this screen will be in Wheeling. I know that. Like
facts. I'm in Jacksonville, man.
Let's see what's all TC got to say. Troy Cook. Well, pretty much what all the teams should be telling their guys. It's championship or bust, right? You hear that whole cliche thing,
I mentioned it a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, it is. It is for us. We were in a developmental league last year. Developmental. And I felt the team we had last year, we could have been competitive with a lot of some of these teams. For sure, the teams in the NAL, I told our guys in the IFL, there's 7 of the 9 teams that I felt that we could beat. 9 of the teams in the IFL were pretty dang good. We'd have to be on our A game to compete with them. But I was confident in the bottom half of the league for sure, with what we had being a developmental league. So all the NAL teams, I felt like we could have been competitive with. The AIF teams, we for sure could have been competitive with. We had a pretty good roster. We just got looked down upon because we played in the AAL too, and I get it. I mean, I'm one of those dudes that look down on some of the smaller stuff because you talk junk. teams that talk junk for years that they're this and that, and then you get a chance to play them in the championship game and you beat the ever living dog crap out of them. So,
I can say right now, if we had an extenuation from last year and the two leagues that actually played arena football last year, which is the Arena Football League and the AAL2, you had Billings versus Willing. Willing would have mopped the floor over Billings.
Yeah, because you got a Grant Russell, a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I mean, he's a stud. I mean, we got a pretty good team. So I'm telling our guys, like, we're winning it. Like, we're going right back into that mess. And we're going to be very competitive again. Our fans are going to be awesome. You're not going to want to come play in Wheeling. West Banco is going to be a tough place. If you see Wheeling on the roster, or on the schedule, and you got to travel there, you're like, dang, like, we're definitely got to get there. Make sure we get there plenty of time early enough so we can get some good rest, because it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a heck of an atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So our fans are awesome. You know, I can't wait for them to really get involved and for people to come see what we got. I mean, it's no joke. Like, it's legit of you know, what you're coming into. So we're going to be right there at the end, man. We're telling our guys, like I said, our roster itself, some of those dudes we're going to end up facing because we can't keep them all. So, which is cool, and that's what you want to be. We want to be competing amongst coaches in the office, talking about who we got to let go, fighting for your guys, you know, fighting for your side of the ball. We want to keep one extra DB than we do receivers, or we want to keep one more running back than a linebacker, because this guy can play linebacker and running back, and it's just all kinds of, you know, it puts you in. I would rather worry about who, like, what are we going to do? Like, who are we going to be able to get rid of versus, oh my God, I got to get 3 more O-linemen. You know, there's going to be teams that are struggling with bigs. There's going to be teams struggling with being able to protect their guys up front. We focused on the trenches, and we did, and we're going to be pretty dang good because we did that. We got a really good trigger puller and Grant. I mean, you get good in the trenches, strong in the trenches, and a good quarterback. It's a quarterback driven game. And you're going to be successful. If you're struggling at any one of those spots, you're not going to win a lot of games.
And we did see that big time this past weekend with Georgia versus Alabama. Those are some dudes in those trenches on both sides of the football, and they gave their quarterbacks time to shine. It just took Georgia to wake up after 28-0 to make it entertaining at the end. But that game was taken away by a young 17-year-old kid, freshman. But still, trenches is where it's won. Don't want to talk about my alma mater, Jeff. We're not going to talk about how bad our offense and defensive lines are there in Tallahassee. That's really depressing.
Did they just get beat by, like, Troy University or something?
Their stepchild, yeah. Some pony school.
SMU.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
I'm sorry, guys.
In Brock we trust.
Exactly. Brock Glenn, baby.
Brody Criswell talking about, I'm ready to watch, but you need to sign Anthony. Put him back. So, kicker situation for us, we will not sign a kicker to the very end. Now we're in the thick of things for real, you know, with where we're at. We won't sign a kicker until the last week of camp or first game week. We're not gonna what I'm trying to say. We're not gonna waste the 35 any spots on camp for a kicker that, you know, if it's Prevost, you know, whoever the kicker is, you know, they're gonna be a kicker for sure. So they're gonna come in ready to roll. Like, we might have some kicker tryouts. I don't know yet. We do got some interest on some guys that are interested in coming to kick. So we're trying to really determine if January, that time, we got a very good practice facility. Our indoor facility's got a pretty good setup for us. So we definitely can work out some kickers. You know, so we'll see. You know, I'm not making any decisions on a kicker yet for sure until the end, just because of our numbers game where we're at. We can't, you know, our kicker can't compete really in training camp. So I'm not, you know what I mean? So when you're looking at it like that from a structure standpoint, then you understand. Obviously, we're going to have a kicker. The deuce is a huge part of this game, and the NAL has been. Maybe not so much the last 2 years because of the rebound nets, but it can change the game when you hit the deuce a few times. So the kicker is very important for what we do. Special teams is important for us as a whole. So definitely we'll have a solid kicker in place. Just don't know who is going to be yet.
I don't know. I don't want to do it because he's a friend of the show. But I think me and Jeff may have to discuss, do we need to ban this person? How dare you put the score up from last weekend?
Well, see, you can. I mean, he's an Alabama fan, so
yeah, he roll tide,
yeah.
And don't remind me that's who we play the first week of next year. So great.
Yeah, not going to be fun.
But you see how bad that is for you guys. Like you're already dreading like who you're playing week 1. You're like, oh my gosh, we got to play Alabama week 1.
No, I'm the person.
And you're not even done with this season yet.
I was like, okay, the season's done. Let me go look at the first game next. Please, to God, let it be Charleston Southern or something like that. Looked at it's like Alabama. Oh, it's Alabama A&M
or something. Come on.
Is it Alabama A&M? I look at no, there's no A&M at the end. It's Alabama. Scrock.
Last time this happened, Francois got hurt, and we had the Willie Taggart era, so that wasn't the greatest.
I'm tired of being depressed. Okay?
Maybe y'all are just it's a overhaul from last year from missing the playoffs.
That just makes me even more depressed, Coach.
Yeah.
A 13-0 team gets left out. I digress. If we had an SEC logo on our field, it'd be completely different. We would have been in and celebrated like we're the best thing since white on rice.
Well, I don't understand why they're playing so bad because it's not like they're getting any draft picks or anything.
I think it's quarterback play. Like the guy doesn't know how to do read option. When he does, he just runs at the back of the offensive lineman. And the running back is going like, you should hand it off. The running back is 60 yards down the field. I digress. I don't want to get this is about Willing. I'm not going to talk about Florida State.
Hopefully, Patterson there. I think, like we mentioned about the schedule, it should be anytime. We're hoping it's within a week, within 2 weeks. Hopefully, it's soon. I mean, that's all we got right now. Trust me, when I am given the green light, it'll be out there.
Yeah. Trust me. Trust him, trust Jeff, trust me, trust Inside the Walls podcast. We're just waiting. Like, I'm excited for the season. I just want to know where we're going. That's all.
Yeah.
Because outdoor football for me sucks.
Yeah.
College, don't get me started on Mr. Sunshine down here in Jacksonville. Don't get me started. I'm like, come on, give me Mac Jones. It's Mac Jones season now down here.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done. NFL college football is dead to me.
I saw somewhere where was pretty interesting. I saw it come across on my notifications sometime this evening, but they're trying to figure out the contract situation with Deshaun Watson because they got to figure out what they're doing at quarterback.
Yep.
But they're in a
date too, right?
They're in a pickle because if it's Deshaun Watson, he don't care what they do. He's in a situation where he's getting paid regardless. So
Jeff wants something to happen because he wants to eat them W's with Jameis Winston.
Hey, and Nick Chubb was back in practice today, so that makes me happy.
I saw a thing on Winston today on social media. I think it was on TikTok, maybe Instagram. I'm not sure, but where he was talking about it was a podcast or it was an interview or something, and he was telling a story about when he committed to go to Florida State and he lived in Alabama side, but not far from Tuscaloosa. And everybody was like giving him crap for committing to Florida State. All of his Alabama people were messing with his house, with his parents, with his mailbox, all kinds of crazy stuff. And he thought it was just nuts. He even blamed, like I said, one dude, he's like, he don't even have grass on his yard from the house that he grew up in now because he feels like someone poisoned his grass.
Jameis he's a character.
Yeah.
He's Mr. 30 for 30, and I'm not talking about the ESPN special. He did throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in the same year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But Jameis is Jameis. One thing about Jameis, he collects receipts, and when he does cash them, it's weird when he does it. He did it with when he beat Auburn in the national title game. They said, "What did you tell the team?" It's like, "Oh, when we strong together." I'm like, "What the hell are you trying to talk about, James? You just won a national title." And he's Mr. Word Salad for college football. But he's in Cleveland now, so hopefully he has an opportunity to play in Cleveland. He deserves to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. There are starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now that don't even deserve to be on the field.
Mm-mm.
And there's one here in Jacksonville. I digress. I spent too much money on that damn team, and I'm just torture.
You know who I was pretty cool to see. I don't know if he struggled a little bit last game. I know he got banged up a little bit the previous game, but Sam Darnold, dude, in Minnesota,
he's found
looking
he's
good.
He's a different dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Minnesota looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Green Bay, I think Green Bay was like, oh shit, this is not going to be an easy division to win now. Minnesota's actually legit. Now you got Minnesota, Detroit, and them.
I still think Baltimore's going to be there at the end, man.
Oh, Derrick Henry went off for my fantasy football team this weekend. Thank you,
Oh,
Derrick
last
Henry.
2 weeks, 30-point games. Last 2 weeks, man, I got him too.
Jeez,
Yeah.
thank you. And I had Jared Goff. Mister had 2 touchdown passes and a receiving touchdown pass. Man, I torched the guy who I played this week.
I supposedly had the worst draft in my fantasy league.
And let me guess, you're undefeated.
Undefeated, baby. It's all about the GM skills, man. Come on, bud.
Hey, in my league, I had a guy draft a quarterback that's been retired for 2 years, but he still has him. He drafted Tom Brady like in the 9th round. I'm like, he's been out of football for 2 years.
That's terrible. Oh, yeah, this dude right here, he has Watson and Lawrence as his quarterbacks. Dang. That must be
Never
a
go
homer.
with Clemson
He
quarterbacks.
You must be a Browns fan.
No, he's a Clemson Tiger.
No, he's got to be a Clemson. Yeah, he's got to be a Clemson homer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So your receivers are Sammy Watkins. Was it Bird who plays in Cincinnati? Is that he went with Clemson? Who's that white wide receiver that was there for like 10 years? It felt like.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
What's his name? Dude was a pain in the ass. He caught everything that was thrown to him, and when he gets to the NFL, he can't catch shit. Humphreys, Chris Humphrey, or is it Chris Humphrey? No, it's Humphreys, but I don't know if it's Chris. Hunter Renfro, nowhere near the name.
Oh yeah, Hunter Renfro. He's with the Raiders, ain't he?
No, he's not playing.
He's done?
He's not done. He's just not playing.
I thought he was with Vegas.
He's not on in the free agent line. He's still available on free agency when you look on Fantasy Football. I may need to make some phone calls. Gibby, we have an NFL receiver that can catch. Probably. We need someone down here, but yeah. NFL is done for me. I don't care. I'm more looking forward to see how Brady announces football games.
Dang, this dude took McCaffrey as first overall too. That sucks. He ain't been playing.
No.
So I'm excited about our league because it was a $200 buy-in for our league. First place like $1,500 or so. So I've won. I've taken second place one time and third, and then I've stunk it up the last 2 seasons. So I'm pretty excited where we're at right now.
He might be with Vegas, but I don't think he is with Vegas. TC. That's the thing. I think he's still a free agent. But there are some. Like, look at the Rams. Their receiving core is depleted. But that defensive line, though, is pretty fire with 2 Florida State guys. Brandon Fisk and Jared Verse. How do I know? I have him on my team. My fancy team.
Since we're talking about it, since we're talking about it, I'm sure people are wondering who's all on Coach Rez's roster. Well, let me tell you. So I got Stroud. I got Stroud at quarterback. I was excited about him this year because he had a pretty good year last year. Stephon Diggs, did the old little, was it the little double up? What's it called?
Yeah, double up because they're on the same team.
Yeah. Reed in Green Bay, Devontae Adams. Unfortunately, he didn't play last week, but I actually filled him in with who played for him last week? I think I had Judy subbed in for him, and I had some stuff moved around, but Judy actually played pretty well last week. So got some good numbers. But Devontae's back, which he's getting traded. They're talking about trading and stuff for him.
There's
So
6 teams interested in him.
yeah, wherever he goes, I mean, he's still going to put up numbers. So, it's pretty exciting. Of course, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones. I traded for Aaron Jones. Our commissioner needed a legit receiver, and I was looking at my receivers. I felt I was pretty solid. I also had Keenan Allen at that time, and I'm like, well, I could give you Keenan Allen for Aaron Jones. I felt like that was a pretty solid switch. And so far, Aaron Jones has been balling, for me putting up some numbers.
And Keenan Allen, not so much.
Keenan Allen, not so much. So I feel like I won in that trade. Kittle's been pretty good for me, although he didn't play last week, which I had. Who did I sign? I can't remember. I've done cut him already because someone filled in for him. Didn't do bad. Shaheed in New Orleans has been pretty solid so far. Hasn't done a whole lot the last 2 weeks, but he was pretty solid early on. And I got Pittsburgh's defense has been pretty good, pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then Franklin, we got a defensive guy. I'm in the Yahoo one, so the linebacker for Indianapolis, pretty balling, not bad.
If my football season now comes down to my fantasy football team,
yeah, but that's fun. That's all right. I tell you what, I finally won some parlay stuff on FanDuel, the sport betting stuff. It's my first year here because in North Carolina it's just been legal recent. So, so that was pretty cool. I've been going off after like the really big high odd stuff. Like I did a 17 leg parlay. It was like, but it was
$5 can win you $6,000 or something.
No. It was 82 cents. 82 cents, but the odds was like 270 million or something for it to happen, and it was like 960 some thousand, 980 or something like that. It would have been on an 82-cent bet.
So
duh.
If you don't show up to coach a game, we know why.
Oh,
$270 million. How much would the state take, especially North Carolina?
No. I'm saying it was 80. For some reason, I think on the thing you can't win more than $1 million, like on a per bet or something. But it was 82 cents was the bet, and the payout would have been 980 some thousand or something like that.
So about what, 600 bring home after taxes?
Oh, I don't 600 that I could use.
The aggravating thing about you said a 7, I get pissed about 3-leg parlay.
Like he said, like Justin just said, imagine sweating out a 17-leg parlay. Like that is a lot can go wrong, and it's like that's kind of too big. So in my mind, I'm like, well, if I would have just done a 9-leg, like half that, 8-leg, yeah, it would have only been 400 some thousand payout. It's like.
But what would be the kickers on the 17 is you're watching it throughout the day or throughout the weekend or throughout the week, and you got 4, and you're like, oh, it's only 9 in a row. That's okay. And you look at it again, it's 12 in a row. You're like, okay, it's fine. Then it's coming up to your last game. You're like, 15 in a row. You're like, all right, that's 17. Dallas better beat this team. It's a guaranteed win.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott goes out with a torn ACL and they get waxed. It's like you get 16 in a row and you lose your 17 parlay.
Yeah, he said cash out.
Cash out.
Oh,
you're just
but I've been doing the anytime touchdown one. I'm choosing dudes that
easy money.
Yeah, I'm choosing dudes that usually score. So it's not like it's like he ain't ever going to score a touchdown. Like they score touchdowns. So it's just it's just been weird. Like the NFL season this year has been kind of weird. Just overall,
I won $60 2 weeks ago. Anytime fumble from Travis Etienne, and he fumbled in the second play of the game. I'm like $60. There we go.
Yeah, well, this one it was like a $4 bet or something, and won a little over $200. So I felt good.
Well, Coach, we can go on for more hours talking about betting and how much in the hole I am in betting here with Hard Rock and the state of Florida, and my worst NFL college football season in my lifetime, it feels like. But we are willing. This is Willing Show. We've been on for 2 hours. So the next show, ladies and gentlemen, is in 2 weeks. Unless there's breaking news, especially the questions we had. If a schedule drop, we might do a pop-up show to discuss the schedule. But yes, we've been on for 2 hours. It's been lengthy. But I've enjoyed it. I love these shows. Different range. Talk about high school. Talk about the team. Talk about the league. And talk about how bad we're betting. And how bad at I can't pronounce players' names today for some reason. And how I wish all the pain and suffering for Jeff and his Cleveland Browns because he wants James Winston to start. So that's basically the sum of the whole episode.
Your season is crap when you're hoping that Winston ends up being.
I'm hoping Mac Jones starts, and we see what Mac Jones did in freaking New England.
Oh,
you're wanting Mac Jones. Like, that might be worse. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like football. I hate football. Well, I don't even follow this dang sport. I'm done. I'm tired. But anyways, any final words there, gents? Jeff?
You're like, bring back Tommy Coughlin or whatever his name is.
Tommy Coughlin. Tom Coughlin. He's actually being retired this weekend in Jacksonville, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah.
So he is going back to Jacksonville. See, there's a chance.
He's actually getting a statue in Jacksonville. So, for what? Not you didn't win anything. Your biggest game is choking to the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game in 1999. Well, let's build a statue. Whatever. I digress. Jeff, need a final word.
Nah, just once again, guys, keep your eyes out to all of Minor socials for news and updates, daily, weekly, all that good stuff.
Still can purchase rings. Still can sign up for the tryout. I think we pushed back our football order one more week, so you can still order the football on our team store, which our team store has been doing pretty good. Someone asked, "What's the turnaround time on some of the stuff?" Not quite sure. I think it's pretty quick. I think it's within 2 weeks. I'm pretty sure. I'll probably get in trouble by saying that, but it's a pretty quick turnaround. It's the company's in North Carolina, in the Hickory area, so it's not too far. So it's pretty good stuff too. So we got a whole gamut of things: Nike, Under Armour, your regular Gildan stuff, different things like that. So, but the football is it's half off right now from what we sell it for on game days. So you can buy it for $50 online. All of our season ticket holders that become a season ticket holder for 2025 will get a promo code for a one-time purchase. So buy as much stuff as you can, and I think it's 40% off or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Means we're not making any money on that stuff. So it's more of a thank you for coming on board as a sponsor. We try to give our season ticket holder, try to give our season ticket holders, as much as possible. So that's still going on for that. And then a lot of stuff come up with events, parades. We'll be in town here soon with a lot of parades and, a lot of cool stuff, man. And before you know it, it'll be February. So stay tuned on, all the stuff we got coming up.
Just imagine next month it's Thanksgiving. Christmas is around the corner. If you're trying to get some Christmas gift, get some season tickets.
Oh yeah, we'll have a Christmas. We'll have a Christmas package together. We'll have some Christmas stuff in there, some swag. It'd be pretty cool. Like, this is some of the stuff we couldn't do last year. So being where we're at now and allows us to do a lot more stuff. So we're looking forward to it.
And the schedule will be out before Christmas.
For sure, or we'll all be nuts by then.
I will go insane if that's not out by then. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's been episode 25, I think, if I'm correct.
Yep.
Through the Wire.
I feel like we're stuck on 25. Like, it's been 25 for weeks.
No, that's just me saying 25 for weeks and not knowing it. I said 25 last week. It was literally 24. I'm say 25. Whatever. Been on for 25 episodes that I know of. Thank you for the support. And I actually want. This is not really a plug, but if you can donate to any of the Red Cross, any of the people who are trying to support the tragedy in Georgia, Central Florida, North Carolina. A lot of communities were struck hard this past week or earlier last week, and any type of donation will help them out. Go to your organization that you trust, that you know the funds or the equipment or any type of things that you have, food, clothing, anything that can help these people. Make sure to go out your way trying to help for the people who are affected. It's not a plug. I don't have the link, but I think sometimes we need to do that as Americans, is help our fellow Americans, recover, rebuild, and move forward.
Yeah. Not sending all this damn money out of the country when we can take care of our own people.
Yeah. Don't want to get in that. It's only $17 billion we just sent over the last 24
It's only
hours.
been 2 hours.
Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 25. We'll be back in 2 weeks unless a schedule is dropped. We'll have a special show for that next week probably. Or if there's not, we'll be back in 2 weeks. So anything that happens in the next couple of weeks, bam, we'll have a show here with Coach and make some other announcements. Me and Jeff will be on Inside the Walls podcast tomorrow night. We'll be talking about a lot more of the free agency around the league with our hosts, Matt Patton, and myself and Jeff. So with that, ladies, this is episode 25. Been well. It's been 2 hours. It's late on the East Coast. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Deuces.